Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. The mind is like an iceberg, it floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Where ID was, there ego shall be. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. The ego is not master in its own house. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. Anatomy is destiny. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what directs his conduct in the world. In the small matters, trust the mind, in the large ones the heart. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. No one who, like me, conjures up the most evil of those half-tamed demons that inhabit the human beast can expect to come through the struggle unscathed. We choose not randomly each other. We meet only those who already exist in our subconscious. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Everywhere I go, I find a poet has been there before me. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. A woman should soften, but not weaken a man. Love and work are the cornerstones of our humanness. Words have a magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or the deepest despair. The goal of all life is death. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises. Every normal person, in fact, is only normal on the average. A layman will no doubt find it hard to understand how pathological symptoms can be eliminated by mere words. Civilization began the first time an angry person cast a word instead of a rock. The act of birth is the first experience of anxiety and thus the source and prototype of the affect of anxiety. Religion is an illusion, and it derives its strength from the fact that it falls in with our instinctual desires. In the depths of my heart, I can't help being convinced that my dear fellow men, with a few exceptions, are worthless. The goal of psychoanalysis is to make the unconscious conscious. In mourning, it is the world which has become poor and empty. In melancholia, it is the ego itself. Dreams are often most profound when they seem the most crazy. Men are more moral than they think and far more immoral than they can imagine. Illusions commend themselves to us because they save us pain and allow us to enjoy pleasure instead. No mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. Children are completely egoistic. They feel their needs intensely and strive ruthlessly to satisfy them. The goal towards which the pleasure principle impels us of becoming happy is not attainable. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. We are what we are because we have been what we have been. Wherever I go, I find a poet has been there before me. The mind of the adult human can sometimes be a blank slate. Man is more moral than he thinks, and far more immoral than he can imagine. The first requisite of civilization is that of justice. The inclination to aggression constitutes the greatest impediment to civilization. It is impossible to overlook the extent to which civilization is built up upon a renunciation of instinct.